Okay, great. Can we meet Timile Oguntoyake?
Thank you and good day, everybody. My name is Timilen Yogutiaki. I'm a PhD student at the Memorial University of Newfoundland in Newfoundland, Canada. I finished with the first class. Thank you.
Okay, that's awesome. Can we meet Precious Indu Indu Indukabu?
Let me help you with that. Ndokoba.
Okay,
And it
great.
means life is greater than wealth.
Awesome.
Although I try to go the other way around by saying wealth is greater than life, but that's a session for another day. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Doc, for having me. My name is Precious Ndokoba, and I'm from Nigeria. I guess we all here are Nigerians. I'm a PhD student at the University of Ottawa, currently working on Black travel movement. I graduated from Michael Akbara University in Abia State, where I graduated with a 2-2 in electrical electronics. Prior to my master's degree, I had this passion for travel, and I kind of, why not go for a study in that, field and see what turns up. So here we are, still furthering in the field. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. That's great. She's smiling already. The queen of non-STEM. Please introduce yourself.
Doc, good morning. Hi,
Good morning.
everyone. Morning from here, sorry, and evening from, My name is Soma Okibe. I'm a second year Master of Law student at the University of Victoria here in Canada. I graduated from Anambra State University with a 2-1. My research is focused on Indigenous issues, Aboriginal rights, and governance. Thank you.
Awesome. And to my far right, Mobolaji Blessing. Please, can we meet you?
Good evening, everybody. Okay, good evening from here. My name is Mobolaji Blessing. I'm Nigerian, and I studied biochemistry in the University of Ilorin and University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Right now, I'm a master's student in Cranfield University, England. I'm studying water and wastewater engineering. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. And to my left, can we meet Ayodeji?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Good evening, can you hear me?
Okay, now we can hear you.
Okay. I'm Adeniji Salam, graduate of the University of
Okay, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Adeniji Salam is my name. I am a graduate of agriculture from the University of Agriculture. Currently, graduate research student at the Osnan University of Life Sciences. Research is in new technologies and citrus sustainable food production.
Okay, that's good. Thank you very much for introducing yourself, Ayodeji. And to the last person on my far left, Feishayo Akonde, can we meet you?
Okay, hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Feishayo Akonde. I graduated from the Beta Bifa University of Ilorin. Yeah. I studied plant biology and I graduated with 2-2, which is second class lower. So presently I'm in Purdue University in US.
Awesome. That's great. So you can see that here we have awesome people here. Those who are registered and who have declared themselves to be first class student, and those to have 2-1. I know someone doesn't like this, but and those with 2-2, those with HND, and those with third class. So you see now we've gathered everyone here. So you don't have an excuse that you cannot have access to scholarship, or you don't have an excuse that you cannot grow and attain that which you want to attain in life and in your career advancement and in pursuit. One of the emphases I want to lay out today is this. It's not only about scholarship posting, it's not only about SOP, it's not only about CV, it's not only about cold email, meeting the professor, or research and all of that. There is more to it, which is the abstract part of the whole process, and that is your energy, your pursuit, your motivation. If your motivation is wrong, then your output will be wrong. It's just like a computer language that says that giggle, garbage in, garbage out. So if the motivation is wrong, then definitely you cannot last long in the process. The process is not just an easy one. Believe you me, it's not just an easy one. Several hours of trying to beat your statement of purpose to reality, to something that can carry the reader along, and yet you're not going to lose the leader out of the reading. It takes time. So in that process, what have you learned? It's tenacity, it's perseverance. So because now the thing is this, majority of the people will only tell you this officially that hey, I spend a lot of hours, but of course you can ask Summer, who at a time took time in reviewing several SOPs. It's a whole lot of energy. And if that is not there, then the whole focus will be missing. Now I'm going to start with um Timilane, then followed by Summer. Timilane, you are a first class student, and first.
You are muted.
Okay, can you? Okay, yeah. Then you've assessed several funding for your MSc, for your PhD you're doing currently, and a quite number of people believe that if you're a first class student, you have it all. Well, true, and maybe no. And it seems as if first class students they don't go through stress. They just apply for the funding and bam, they get it. They leverage on their CGPA. If it's possible to have 5.1 over 5, they are the one who are in the class of that. So to me, just share your experience with us being a first class student. Yes, it's good. You face the hurdles in life. The applications, the process of you applying, what has it taught you being a first class student? You have the floor.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're
This is a
welcome.
very big question because I see a lot of first class candidates trying to rely solely on their CGPAs, and then they believe that since I have the CGPA, then I'm good to go. Well, your CGPA is a good thing. The fact that you have a first class, if you have that one, I will congratulate you on that feat, for achieving that feat. But your CGPA is just a component of the many criteria by which you are going to be assessed if you are applying to graduate school. So your CGPA is good, fine. So I would just use myself, since it is my story that would definitely paint this picture quite well. I will just use myself as an example. So I've made several applications to the UK, and as you would guess, as you would assume, I got so many responses, but of course I had to wait or to apply separately for scholarships. But while that one was going on, I saw an application to a university in Germany, and that was the application that changed everything for me. Because most of the times when I applied to the UK, I was always getting a yes, yes, you have admission, but then you have to pay a lot of money, or you have to wait on scholarships like Commonwealth and Chevening. But then, when I tried this particular university in Germany, I just did everything the way I always did, put in my CGPA and bragged a lot about my experience, about my laboratory experience, my research experience, my field work experience, and all that. So, and unfortunately, the application came back as a loss. It was a very big blow to me when I got the result. But this is the takeaway. The application did not just return to me as, oh, we are sorry, we regret to inform you. So they actually stated, because most universities in Germany are tuition-free admission. They do tuition-free admission processing. So many people do apply to that and they get it. But this particular one was a full funding. So I was supposed to get the tuition waiver and also stipends per month. But when I applied, when I was applying, they asked me at the point of application, do you want this? Do you want to attach your application to this another application for funding, or you just want to go for the tuition-free application? So I was like, why would I not get the full funding when it is available? And of course, I'm coming with the first class, So I just put everything there, like, that's what I want. So when they now returned my application, they told me if I had applied for just the tuition fee waiver, I would be a top candidate. But because I applied for full funding, they were expecting more. And they sent back to me how they graded the application. And that was the sweetest part of it, because even though it was a failure, but it was a forward failure. It was a progressive failure for me. So they said, in Germany, if you are very conversant with the way they grade, 1.0 is their first class, and 5.0 is like their pass or fail or something like that. So if you have like 1.0, 1.2, 1.5, you are in good standing. So they said they used my SOP, my CGPA, and my experience. Those are the three criteria they use. So for my SOP, for my CGPA, they gave me 1.2, which was quite expected. So, but for the SOP, they gave me, I think, 3.2 or something. And that was where the line was drawn, because they needed someone with at least 2.1 grading if you will assess the full funding. And they need someone with at least 2.5 grading if you get the tuition fee waiver. Unfortunately, even though every other thing seemed good, but that SOP was just the thing for me. So they needed someone with 2.1 to get the full funding, and I got 2.2. It was a very thin line that I crossed, but it cost me a lot of things. But of course, that was just my story regarding leveraging solely on my CGPA. It is good to leverage your CGPA. It's good to talk about the process, because like I mentioned in Tunde Omotoye's spaces last week, that graduate school is a game of potential. You don't need to have it all. What you need is to show the potential of carrying out quality research or doing well in graduate school. So I understand that clearly after that application and after the grading and the explanation. And, that was, they will say the rest, all of it now is not a story, right? So it remains a story. So what I'm just trying to put out here right now is that your CGPA, being a first class grad, is good, top notch, but you still need to do more, especially when you understand the criteria they are going to use to assess you. Like, if you are submitting, I don't think there's any scholarship application you do that you not attach SOP, that you not attach your CV. There is a way of doing all of these things. So you have to be really holistic in your submission. You have to be holistic. It has to be very comprehensive, not just your CGPA. The same thing, even if you have other grades, you still have to measure up, because a lot of people, and if you rely on your CGPA, imagine how many first-class grads are leaving university in Nigeria every year. And the orientation now is that once you finish with a first class, you are a candidate for international graduate study, right? So everybody is actually vying for the same thing. And of course, if CGPA were going to be the only criterion that they are going to use, even if that is the only criterion they are going to, you are still going to meet with competition. So that gives you an idea of how competitive it is out there and why you really don't have to leave a stone unturned. Why you don't want to say I have a good CGPA, then I can just submit any SOP, I can just leave my CV so wishy-washy, I can just do anything. So, but in this case now, the message I'm passing out here is that your CGPA is good. In fact, it will give you edge over other candidates. And that is the truth that you must know. It will give you edge, provided every other thing is done perfectly. It's going to give you edge over other candidates, because if I have someone submit the same quality of SOP and CV and other documents, and you have a first class and the other person has a 2-1 or a 2-2, I will definitely pick you. So it gives you edge, but you don't have to sleep on it. That's it.
Yeah, amazing. Don't sleep on it. So it's more than the CGPA. Great. I'm still coming back to you. Queen of non-STEM. You finished with a very strong 2-1. The energy is there. I think I have a feeling that it's supposed to be first class. Maybe Nigerian system, maybe.
I don't know what
Okay.
you're saying. First of all, I have a problem with this. See how Timmy was just talking. If you have this, I'll pick you. I have a problem with all these first class people, because that's basically what they have to offer. Their grades. Always bragging about their grades. I had 4.0, and so what else? What else do you have to offer? Right? So I have a problem with all these first class people, really. Because if you talk to them, if they even come to your DM, hi, good morning, ma. My name is this. I'm a graduate of this. I had a first class. Are you kidding me? Like, is that what I want to hear? So I feel like we focus a lot on our grade than our potential. What can you offer? What can you bring to the table? And let me correct the notion. No, I did not have a strong 2-1. My 2-1 was 3.6, so that you people hear it now. 3.6. So that I don't know where Dr. Adeji got the information that I had strong 2-1. I don't know if I look like somebody that got strong 2-1. Okay. But then I had a 3.6. I got serious. Let's use the word serious. I got serious and very studious in my 300 level, and I never had anything less than a first class from 300 level. So which means if I got serious from 100 level, maybe I would have graduated with a first class. So I look like that's cute. Thank you. Someone said I look like a 4.0 scholar. Well, right now I'm a 8.0 scholar, so that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, when I was in grad school, my first year and second year were just I wouldn't say I wasn't serious, but I was only reading when it was time for exam. Right? So when oh god. I don't know if you guys want to hear this story, but just know that some Nigerian universities will do you some things, and then you would, pick yourself up. If you're able to pick yourself up on time, that's good. But then these are just grades. I will tell you that in short, when I applied for my master's in Canada, I'm sure there were tons of first class candidates from Nigeria. In short, there's even someone in my class that's always at that time he would always tell me, Summer, do you know what I graduated from the university? Baba, shut up. and so like you're always trying to rub it in our faces that you probably came out with a 4.9 or whatever. Guess what? We applied for a competitive, because as non-STEM, we love to apply for external funding, no matter the funding that the university has given you and all of that. This is a very competitive scholarship in the entire BC. Very competitive. This babe that came out with a 3.6 was the first Black person, first African since 1986 that they were awarding that scholarship that it was given to. See, when I'm applying for scholarship, I don't care if you had a first class. I don't care if you have 30 publications. I don't care if you are the best. I know that I am the best for me and that I will get it. So it's all about my confidence. Do I believe that I can get it? I don't believe that anybody's so long as I meet the minimum. Listen, I use the word minimum So long as I meet the minimum requirement, I will get it. I don't care. That society me said that it was his SOP that sold him out. Like he didn't get into Germany because of his SOP. So when I know that I've gotten the minimum requirement of 2-1, if that's what you said, that the minimum is 2-1, I know that 2-1 I'm there. I know that if you say last 2 years, I have a first class in my last 2 years, I'm there. When it comes to SOP, I'm a very fantastic story writer. So there is nothing that you will come and say. So why won't you select me? When it comes to leadership, Summer is there. When it comes to this, I am there. So you have to select me. You need me. Do you get? So it's more like when the result came out, my supervisor sent an email. I was like, we just finished the board meeting and everyone is screaming as to how you're the first person in the history of this scholarship to get it. Black, oh, when I mean black, I'm not referring to Black Nigeria now. Black in general, which means Black Canadians. I'm the first Black person to get it. So which means all along, and they have always had first class. So I'm even 2-1, maybe because of my university, my master's grades now, that's 8.0. If you add my thesis by the time I'm done, probably to get to 9.0. But the point is, that was not even really the criteria. The fact is that there were so many things they put in place. So you find out that grade is just, if it's a requirement, that's fine. You passed it, but what else? What are you bringing to the table? If you guys are here, I posted 4 days ago about a movie, Walk It. Yeah, Walk It on Netflix. Go and watch it. This girl came for an interview for pre-med, and she was just saying, they say, oh, the woman said, let me meet you. My name is this. I had a 4.0 CGPA. The woman was just looking at her. And when she was talking, I was like, oh my God, this guy's brag a lot. What else do you have to offer? That was why when doctor was saying, let's add our CG. I said, me, I'm not a fan of adding CGP. I'm not a fan of all of that. Because I feel like that is all, it would be like that we are encouraging that. Oh, that's all we have to offer. Because what else? This girl could not say any other thing but her CGPA. 4.0, 4.0. I'm the first in my class, 4.0. That was all she was saying. And I was like, what is going on here? Give us something else. So it's like, I volunteer at a care home twice a week. Okay, that's good, but we don't know the impact. Are you helping people? What have you done for those people? What is your impact? What are you bring? Don't anybody can go and tell us that they are, volunteering in a care home. So we needed to see more, right? So personally, I would say, whether you have first class, whether you have 2-2, whether you have a pass or third class or whatever, you can achieve anything that you want. It starts with the mind. If you doubt yourself that you cannot get it, definitely you will not get it. Nobody will believe in you. You have to believe in yourself first. And I have always been, in short, I don't think, nobody in my class actually got a first class. In short, I think that this is what I said self. I think that the best graduating students either graduated with a 3.8. Yes, I'm very sure of that. So that's to tell you that, okay, yes, I'm in the top 5. Yes. However, it's still not, if you are looking at, when you look at other people that graduated with a first class, you can't compare, right? But that does not mean that if you had a first class, I should not apply. I'll tell you something I have not told anybody. I'll still not drop points. Like, I will not still talk about it. I'll just hint it a bit. Something happened last year rather. We were meant to apply for another external funding for something else this year. And my cohorts, PhD students, said that they don't want to apply because Summer is applying. What is all this? Truth be told, that's what they said. They don't want to apply because I am applying. Why? I don't know if they feel threatened that my guts will get it for me, because once I do my due diligence, I just pray and say, God, I beg, I will get this thing. Even if it's 1 slot, I will be that 1 slot. If it's 3, I'll be among the 3. If it's 2, do you get? And guess what? What if they applied and I didn't get it? So they've already doubted themselves that they cannot get it. And these people are first class candidates now. I'm not joking. These people are first class candidates. But because of Summer is applying, they say, oh no, Summer is applying, she should go and compete with other people in BC. And guess what? They needed 6 people. I was among the 6 people that were selected, but I was the only one selected from the entire university. Why am I saying this? If you doubt yourself, you won't get it. So if you believe in yourself, you will get it. The least they will tell you, bata, no. But I always say I will get a yes. If I get a no, that's fine. Right? So if you're here and you don't have a 2-1, you don't have a a 2-2 and probably have a third class. There are people that have gotten scholarships with a third class. Yes. I'm sure people will even doubt that even HNDs can even get these opportunities, but they can. So me personally, I don't really talk about my, in short, before I talk about my grade in my this, because instead of talking about my 3.6, I'll tell you I made top 5. But before I do that, I must have given you receipt as to other things that I have done. My grade is just because I meet the minimum requirement. Let me just stop here so that other people will talk. Thank you.
Anytime someone holds the mic, you know she's holding the mic. No be here. Yeah, actually why I requested for the grades, it's so that people can know that the meal is for everybody. If these guys can achieve it, you also can. It's possible. You both the high and the low have the right to the table, because the table is meant for everybody. Now we're coming down. We've heard from the first class, we've heard from the 2-1. Okay, I want to ask Mobolaji Blessing, we all are in the same category. Yes, you finished with a 2-2. Yes, Summer is fantastic. You can clap for her. You can clap for her. Yes, so Blessing, you finished with a 2-2. Tell us how. How did you do it? It's man, Timilane finished with a very good 2-1 first class. Summer finished with a very interesting 2-1. And man, on this same table, a 2-2. How? Because years ago, 2-2, I believe that man, those guys are last class citizens of the nations. But one of the advantages they have is that we've seen that all the 2-2s today, they've held their business moguls, they are the one dashing out the money, giving money to foundations and all of that. But let's come back to scholarship. How did you do it? Tell us.
Okay, good evening again. My name is Blessing, and so I became proud enough to talk about my grades because, yes, with my sister, I have a scholarship. So before then, I would not be so proud to, just say to your face or just brag about having a tutu. But when I saw that I competed favorably with people with perhaps first class and then 2-1s, for the scholarship, and I got it with a 2-2, it was easier for me to say, hello, I have a 2-2, and I'm here. Yeah, so that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. So I'm starting with, for me, it was about passion, actually. I've always wanted to study more. After my first degree, I did my master's anyways. However, it was actually my master's that helped for me to get this scholarship, because the condition for my scholarship is a 2-2 with a postgraduate degree. So, but because I've always been somebody who likes studying, when I finished my first degree with my 2-2, after some time I did my master's, and I just didn't know that it would be useful now that I would have to put my master's together with my first degree to get a scholarship. However, so my love for studying is what brought me here. My passion for when I see something that is not right, and I'm losing my sleep because of something that is not right, because of some policies that are wrong, and it just keeps popping in my head like, how can this be like that? So it's basically because of the drive that I had, the passion that I have for studying and for doing something that would, create a positive impact, basically. Something that I know that when I'm doing, the impact is, it's not just when you, like our thesis, I'm sorry, this is online, but when you just do your research and it's been dumped somewhere, but when you really want to do something to make impact in people's lives. So for me, it was my drive, it was my passion to do something in life that brought me here. Now, getting to this scholarship. So because one of the things he said we were going to talk about is this drive, the pains and all of it. So it was about researching, about reading, about studying, about not wanting to be on the same spot for so long. I got bored with the work I was doing. I've been working the same job for 10 years plus. So, yeah, I basically got bored several years ago. It was out of the boredom I went for my master's, and then I came back to the same routine, and then the boredom was going to kill me. So in my spare time, I was reading. In my spare time, I was coaching interns in my office. In my spare time, I just had things I was doing here and there, which I didn't know were going to be useful in my applications. Okay, for me, I'm a Commonwealth scholar, and you know that we have essays, you have these things you're going to write about your volunteering and leadership experiences and all of that. So those things I was doing, those times just to occupy myself to, just do something, were the things that eventually made up my essays. So I wouldn't call myself a fantastic storyteller like someone, but I mean, I tried my best to put my things together. So I think what this is for me to be here, I competed with people with first class and 2-1s, and I was given because I have something else to offer, which was my passion. So I attended a program organized by the Commonwealth some weeks ago, and when we were talking, by the time I started talking, the lady just said, you could feel my passion with the way I was talking about the subject matter. So passion cannot be mistaken. Either when you're speaking about it or you're writing about it, somebody picks it up, somebody sees through it. So it was the passion that I was able to translate into my essays. And then anyone who read the essays obviously felt like, okay, we need this person, we need this drive, we need this on our team. So it's being able to convince them that even though I don't have a 2-1 or a first class, I have something else to deliver. Like someone said, like I have something to bring to the table, which is my passion for research, my passion to transform lives, to make impacts in the environment and stuff, and then being able to articulate everything, put it in a really nice way, and then being given the scholarship. So I would say it was about my study. It was about the things I was doing just randomly to occupy myself, the volunteering, the coaching, just random things that was able to help me put a good application together for this scholarship. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Blessing. That's awesome.
Yes, bro.
With the Association of Tutu, we are here.
We are here.
Okay, so let me go to Precious. I'm coming. Just calm down. Let me go to Adeniji Abdusalam. He's smiling.
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Yes.
Once again.
Okay. So just tell us, of course, you're an ambassador of Tutu, so we know. And
No,
now those
I'm not an ambassador of Tutu. Third class.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. Now, there's a lot of I don't know the population of third class, and I have a feeling that Tutu they are more than the third class. I have a feeling I might not be too accurate, but you see, you have a third class. Beautiful, awesome. What did you do? Because third class is back. What did you do? Because now they want to hear you. They want to hear hope from you. Tell us what you did.
I'll put it this way first. Nobody wants to associate with failure.
Yeah.
Nobody absolutely wants to associate with failure. After graduation, I knew furthering might be a problem. So the next thing I did was pick up a job. In fact, picking up a job was even a tug of war because they were looking for somebody, in those areas, first class and the likes. But eventually I got it. Then I started attending some certifications online. I was attending, I was joining some memberships that could give me, I never knew this could add up to something beautiful in future like this. Back then, but I was just gathering all those things I could, at least to make my CV heavier. That was the notion back then. to make my CV more beautiful, you know. And at first, I joined the African Youth Initiative on Climate Change. I volunteered there. I joined Young Professional for Agricultural Development because I'm in the agri-food industry. I volunteered there as well. I joined Agritech, the International Society for Horticultural Science, and in addition, the Australian Society for Horticultural Science. I was just volunteering on my own, and I was on the internet one evening. Then I saw this opportunity by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. They actually put a course online for people to grab. And the next thing I checked the requirements. I wasn't there. My certifications, my grade would not put me there. But the thing is, I just applied. I sent in my CV, and fortunately, I was picked to attend the certification.
Wow.
So after gathering all these things, I started applying, the zeal came like, something better could come out of this. I started speaking with people, knowledgeable people, scholars in my field, and they were like, no, you just have to forget it. You just have to start again, bachelor's, And I was like, something should happen with this. I just, like someone said, I just had to believe in myself, although to a large extent, I wasn't so sure of what the future might hold, but at the same time, I was just in there, hanging in there and trying to see what could happen. Then I think it was back in 2018, that was when the whole thing changed. And I said to myself, most of my friends have left Nigeria for furthering their education abroad. And I said to myself, I should do this as well. So I started with bachelor's, I was, they were like, some schools told me, age is not on your side, you can't do this, you can't do that. Then one evening as well, I was just going through some journals because I love reading some journals. And I saw something that caught my interest. Solving the threat of malnutrition across the globe because of food wastage. I picked up the journal, then I started jotting some things down. And this, should I say scholarship? No. It is funded, this particular journal was funded by the European Social Fund. And they needed more scholars to do research in that field. I picked up my pen, then I started writing. Then the Millennium Development Goal, African Union? Yes, African Union Summit that was held in Kigali, 2019. They were like looking for people. The threat of malnutrition has been forecasted in sub-Saharan Africa, and they're looking for people to help solve that threat. That was where I keyed into with my past experiences in the agriculture and agri-food industry. I put on my pen and I wrote a fantastic SOP that put me ahead. Then I sent in, I was picked. All of a sudden, then I saw a mail from the European Social Fund Scholar that they loved what I wrote. And am I interested in taking up the research? And I replied, yes. That was how the whole thing changed in 2020. But unfortunately,
you don't have a choice.
I did not even attend it. I did not even honor it because, some people were giving me stories about the eastern part of Europe, because I think it was, the scholarship was slated in one of the universities in Latvia. Yes, I could remember, in Latvia. And people were telling me, what are you going to do in Latvia? Latvia is not a good country and all that. I listened. So I wrote European Social Fund again that I will be deferring my, is there an opportunity to pick up another institution? They said no. So I forfeited it. So come 2021, I made up my mind at this time, since I can get a scholarship scholarship is we the backbenchers cannot. I mean, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So I put in more effort. I rephrased how I put in my SOPs, and fantastically, one of my SOPs was One of my SOPs was one of I think the United Nations UNICEF. Yes, UNICEF actually picked up my SOP, and that was how this whole scholarship came again in 2021. And then they told me they will be having a course in Poland. And fortunately for me, I picked Poland, and it is tuition. I mean, it is fully funded, and that's why I'm here in Poland. I don't know how. Maybe as time goes on, I will know how to put it well for people to catch it. But this is just the summary of the whole scholarship for third class, please.
Wow, that's really encouraging. Well, you're no longer a backbencher because now the last has become the first. Exactly. In
Like
fact,
said, it is 8 points in on graduate research now.
I'm not done though. By the time maybe they add my thesis now, we go to reach 9.0. You get it. So for those that you see now, somebody I was even thinking this person will just introduce see long message, but the first thing I just got is 4 point. You guys brag about your CGPA, man. Stop it. I'll read what you said, but
Should I just come in? Should I come in?
Okay,
yes, please.
Okay, Timmy.
Sorry, I don't know. Like, there is something about CGPA that you cannot just keep quiet, honestly speaking. Yeah, because some of us actually went through hell to get it. Yes.
Wait, sorry, do you mean that we here did not go through hell?
No.
Yeah, I want to understand. Is it what you're trying to say?
Summer, remember you mentioned something in your SOP.
I will open a breakout room for you and
you mentioned something in your SOP. You mentioned that there was a trend that your CGPA was taking, but when you got to the third level, maybe part 3 or part 4, you started getting first class results.
Yeah, but that was your SOP.
Good. Yes, that was it.
I didn't include that in my SOP. No, I didn't.
But you talked about it now because
I'm telling you guys so that you understand something. Yeah.
Yes, there is just something. Honestly speaking, I know it is great to let people know that it is not just CGPA that does the job. Like I shared my story, CGPA does not do it alone, and we should all get it. But some people just put their CGPA just so they can get your attention. At least when I see someone write that they got a 4.6 or 4.4 or 4.5, I know that probably this person just wants me to notice them, because you receive messages every day and you cannot reply to all of them. Let's be honest. You cannot reply to all of these messages. And specifically, there is another thing. When I did my master's at UBC, I think we were about 20 Africans that were selected. This is just to tell you why some people decide to mention their CGPA, maybe in applications. 18 people got first class out of the 20. And the only 2 people that did not get first class. You see that brother that just mentioned the story now, that just stated all of the associations he has volunteered with and everything. Those people have top-notch leadership experience. Like, they have done a lot. Imagine you not talking about your leadership experience. It's just like you are shortchanging yourself. So there is a very thin line between selling yourself and bragging. And that was the lesson I learned in a very hard way when I applied to Germany. So we must always balance this thing up. If you say you don't want to talk about your CGPA, if CGPA is your strong point, imagine another person whose strong point is leadership and they don't talk about it. How would it be?
I have a quick contribution to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in my undergraduate, I had a 2.2, but I said I also have a master's before coming here to the UK. But my master's degree, I had this MPhil PhD grade, which is like equivalent to a 2-1.
Right.
So that means that they are able to see a progress in my academic career. So
Yeah.
it was a 2-2 in the first, and my 2-2 was 2.9422. But then by the time I did my master's, there was a tremendous progress. So
Yeah.
they are able to see that I'm not just relaxed and doing nothing serious about my academics.
Exactly.
So apart from my volunteering and some sort of leadership experience, they're able to progress. So right now, I'm not in 9.9 like summer, but at least I'm still good. I think I'm still on a very, very good grade. So by the time I finish this now, and then I'm able to add that, it's clear that there is a progression. I'm not just stagnant academically. So
Yeah.
I think that those are the things that, so I could put that, in my next SOP to just show that I'm progressing, I'm improving.
Right.
Okay, so it's not bragging, it's actually trying to set ourselves in.
Yeah, I actually want to add something. Can I?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank
I was
you.
about no.
Okay, I think you should go.
Yeah, so no, I was about saying, Faisha, can we meet you and tell us your story?
All right.
Yeah.
What I'm about to say is, I have a grandpa, and he always says, brag about what you have. If you have a first class, brag about it. I have a first class. It's not easy to have a first class. Yeah, I had to. Yeah, I brag about it because I had to. Even it's like a pain in the ass because I need to be sincere with you. There's sometimes I'm like, okay, having a good grade sometimes might make this journey a little bit easy, but doesn't mean that it's not possible. It's definitely possible. So now I think this whole journey about getting admission, getting scholarship is all about bragging on what you have rather than dwelling on what you don't have. And at the same time, you have to focus and be determined on what you really want to do, because it's the determination that really matters most. I'll go with Summer. It's the determination that really matters most. Once you determine you really want to do this, there is nothing stopping you from getting what you want except you. You are the only one stopping yourself from getting whatever you want. Okay, I had to, and I was applying to some top-notch university. Tell me if there's application for agriculture in Harvard, I will apply. That's just me because I like going for what I want. Like I had to, yeah. I can't go back to learning again and start like, okay, I need to start sitting up and I want to have first class. 2-2 is me. 2-2 is what I have now. So I have to focus on what I have now. And that is 2-2. But yet, it's not just about what I came out with. I had to, but I have a lot of experience after school. I try to have a lot of experience after school, and this really helped me. So it's not just, the grade really matters, but it's not just the grade alone. A lot of things you do after school really matters with it. When I was applying, sometimes when I started this scholarship journey, sometimes when I reach out to some people and I'm like, okay, I had 2-2, and we're like, okay. There was somebody that said, why don't you try Nigerian University? But do you know why I really can't try the Nigerian University was that during my final exam in University of London, blessing cannot that London is a really stressful school. I told my best friend, I'm never and ever going back to school. And if I would ever go back to school, I'm never going back to school in Nigeria. I really had no idea what scholarship is. So is it still going? Okay, I really had no idea what scholarship is at that point, but I already had a determination in my mind that if I'm going back to school, I'm not going back in Nigeria. So when I started the whole stuff journey, as I said I get admission. Presently, I'm in Purdue University, and Purdue University is not a small school. I have to say that, like, it's one of the big schools in the US, one of the big 10 universities in the US. When I was applying, a lot of people were like, why don't you try small schools? With small schools, you can have like better admission, because when you apply to small schools, there's not much competition there. But I was like, no, is that module that I really want, that big school that I think it's too big for me, that's where I want to go. So it's just about determination, and you have to work toward it. Yes, grade really mattered. I will support it. It's not easy to have first class. People like me, I can't have first class because I don't really like reading like this. Even right now, I don't like reading, but I'm still struggling with it. But yeah, you have to like help yourself, because there is nobody stopping you from getting it except you, as I said earlier. A lot of people ask you, what is SOP? Can you give me an idea of schools to apply with? Everything is online. I keep telling people, everything is online. You don't really need people to ask about things like that. And another thing is that sometimes the requirements will be like, okay, the list is having 2-1. The list is having IELTS, GRE, or others. It's just like scholarship is like applying for jobs. There are sometimes they'll tell you have to have 5 years experience, be a first class student, have this, have that. Then you have to weigh your options. Like, okay, they ask for 5 requirements. Out of 5 requirements, I have 4. Then work on those 4 and brag about those 4s in your SOP. This is really what I do. Like, I had to, but you won't see me coming in to meet Summer and say, Summer, I had 3.02 in for my undergrad. I don't say that. I brag on what I have, and what I have is that my last 2 years of study, I had over 70%. So the first thing I would tell the professor when I'm reaching out to them is, I had 70% in my last 2 years of study. I don't care about my 100 level and 200 level. I focus on 300 level and 400 level. Then I talk about my experience. Oh, I have experience in this. I have experience in research work. I have a publication. I'm now working in an Reframing. I own a company. These are what I'm doing. So I was able to brag more on what I have, rather than I have a third class. No, forget the fact that you have a third class. That's just you. You can't go back to school again. You have to like, what can I do now to change everything? And that's what I do. And I don't apply to scholarship because I know scholarship is not my thing. Scholarship is for first class and so on. So I don't go for scholarship. What I mean, I don't go for scholarship is I don't go for government scholarship like Erasmus, Chevening, or all those kind of stuff. I don't go for it. I had to. That's like I stick. But yet, if it's about applying directly, reaching out to professors, I reach out to professors. I try to apply directly to schools, especially in the US. And I would say, if you're in STEM, you have something big at hand, because if you're in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you have everything you need, because that's just the basic thing. Once you're in STEM, you have everything. I have to say, because it's just about you looking for how to get it, reaching out to the right people, reaching out to the right school, and that's what you did. And that's why you don't have to ask someone like, what are the schools I can apply to? Everything is online. It's just about you taking your time, dedication, and determination. Don't let anybody tell you that you have a third class, you can't get admission. It's not possible. Don't let anybody tell you that you have 2, you can't get admission. I had 2, and I got a scholarship of over 60K. Wow, like with 2, I don't have a master's degree. It's just my undergrad and research. So things like that is just possible.
That's awesome. Faisha is very bold. You go for it. No time to waste time.
Yeah.
Okay, briefly, Summer.
Yeah, thank you, Faisha.
Briefly.
I think people are not understanding where I'm coming from, right? I've had conversations with professors, and they will tell you that they've seen so many first class people send them emails, and the only thing they have to offer is their grades. See, Eduz, this is also in response to your this, because maybe my voice, sorry, my tone is very demanding. Yes, I'm very sorry about that. That's because of who I am. I am very bold, right? When you're writing an SOP, and the only thing you have to say is that you have a first class, I'm sorry, they're going to pick someone that had a third class over you. It's fact. What they're looking for is experience. Volunteer. What they're looking at is your leadership skills. If you can marry these 3 and say, do you know, before you, I think you're even mistaking something. I said I was top 5 in my class, so which means I am one of the best, even though I graduated with a 2-1. But if I tell you the way I wrote it in my SOP, you'll be like, who is this person? I will just give you one tip so that you understand that I brag about everything, but there are ways you brag about it. Are you bragging about it just on the face of it, or you're bragging about it with receipts? That is the difference. So when I say, oh, don't just be saying about first class, I want to see you behind the first class. What else can you offer outside the first class? Are you someone that the only thing you have never done any volunteer work, you have never been in any leader, so what you only do is read? Trust me, universities are not looking for people that only read. Fact. They're looking for somebody that can work, do things in different capacities. Do you have the leadership skill? Can you handle a project? Can you lead a team? Do you know how to work with people? Or you're a very toxic person? These are things they're looking out for. And this is why Feisayo, trust me, if you had applied for Commonwealth, you will get it. There are people that had 2 2s that got Commonwealth. And you cannot, come on, she's here, man. Like, there are so many people that had 2 2s that got Commonwealth. How did they get it? Their SOP. They were telling them, giving them receipt back to back. Oh, I volunteered as the executive director in Human Rights International, where I led 1,000 or we fed 1,000. You're showing them impact. So when they now see your grades and you have talked about your grades, oh, and despite, let me even give you a trick. When you're right to say outside of the classroom, I did this. Despite all my involvement outside of the classroom, I still maintained a. That is a smart way of bringing it in. Not at the beginning, you're telling us my name. That is what I mean. So if you did not understand that whenever I talk, I'm very sorry, but that's my voice. And that is the way you should present it. And that is the way you would sell yourself, whether you have a 3rd class, whether you have a 2-2 or a 1st class. We are all as a matter of fact, we are all going to get the scholarship, but it's the way you present it to the graduate admission committee that will determine. Thank you.
Yeah, that's Summer. Always Summer. Okay, now I want to go to one person. Precious is the last person because I call him the Jagaban, and he understands the reason why I say he's the Jagaban. Now I want to go to Oladele Eson. It's actually unbelievable. What did you do? How? Bros, there's a lot of guys outside there. How did you do it? You must have, you and Adeniji must really have a whole lot of guts.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Thank you so much. Because I can relate a lot to what almost everybody has said. I would say I'm more of everybody except Timmy. Sorry, Timmy, no offense, so because you are Jagaban now, so I'm more of every other person except Timmy. Okay, fun fact number 1 is I finished with an HND, and I didn't finish with distinction. I didn't finish with upper credits. I finished with lower credits. All right. Now, but one thing, okay, I would say one of the reasons I finished with lower credits is all through my school days, I would say I'm not this class person. I wasn't in class. So you see book, just if book is going like this, may I go like this. But all through those periods, I acquired experiences. All right. One of my biggest bragging rights when I talk to anybody is I was the first indigenous Nigerian or indigenous engineer in Nigeria to fully program a fully functional car park, automated car park in Nigeria. As in, I brag about it anywhere I get to. Right. And I was still in school when I did all that. So one thing, that's why I said I'm more like everybody. I acquired a lot of experiences. In fact, when I was writing my SOP, there was nothing academic in everything I wrote in my SOP because, is it HND? HND does not enter anywhere. Is it result? Bottom, down below. So it's not as if I have anything to brag with, right? But I had things to brag with. Number 1 was I had this thing, okay, I did this as an engineer. Number 2 is I single-handedly started a company, executed tens of projects in one single year, and all that, they were my bragging rights. And as Feishayo said, I will say it anywhere I get to. As in, once you meet me, the first thing I tell you is, I did this, I did that. All right, so having said that, I would say one thing I found out over the course of my applying for schools and whatever is the fact that as much as you think you need the school actually needs you the more. One thing I saw is the fact that schools need assets. Go to places like Harvard or Yale or Stanford. Before they see anything, they will say they produce so number of Fortune 100 executives. They produce also number of Fortune 100 this. That's their own bragging right. So now, how do you bring that to your SOP, your scholarship application, or whatever is the fact that you have to demonstrate to these people that you are going to be an asset. Now, one way of actually telling them you are going to be an asset is to have been an asset. I don't know if that makes sense. You must have been an asset before you can tell somebody you are going to be an asset. So, for instance, you are telling somebody, yes, I'm going to see. If you are writing SOP and you are writing, I'm going to, God, nobody will see you, nobody will send you. But I have done this. I think it was Adeniji that was talking about, okay, he was member of this association, he was member of that institute. They know that, okay, for you to belong to this and to have done all those researches and to have done all that, they know that this one, senior man, you understand? So number one is you have to make sure you've proven yourself over and over again. It may not necessarily be in your career or whatever. Volunteering are very good ways of doing that. I've done that one. Been there, done that. Career, been there, done that, right? So, and then another thing I'm going to add before I now just use my experience to just sum up everything is the fact that know how to sell yourself. As much as you have all these experiences, as Soma said, be able to write badass story. Like, okay, there are some people over time, they would say, hey, I'm writing SOP, blah, 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 blah. I think, okay, I first saw it with Professor Dr. Muyiwa. Somebody will start writing emotional stories for you. If you write emotional story inside the SOP, nobody would, in fact, they won't finish the first paragraph. I come from a very poor village, Oga. Everybody knows the whole world is poor. Nobody has money, right? So don't put emotions into it. Come with receipts. Come with something concrete, right? I tell people that, okay, my HND right now, if as a person, if I had the BSc, you show me say I'll be in top 5 schools in the US. Fun fact, right? Now, I will now just sum this up with another thing you should do is, I think it was Faisha that was saying that if they tell you, they give you 5 recommendations or 5 requirements, if you have 4, brag about those 4. It is practicable. I would use this as an example. Like, I think earlier this week, I had a job interview with one of the top 5 companies in the world, right? And the job, I do not possess. In fact, one of the key requirements was to be a mechanical engineer. My background is in electronics. The only relativity I have with mechanical is that I'm doing mechatronics engineering, right? But let's leave CV, let's leave resume. There's the way you craft your resume, that one will get you in the door. But then at the interview level, if the guy was the manager of the department and all that, and once he asked a question, instead of me to answer you that, oh, sorry, I don't have the experience as a mechanical engineer, I will tell you what I have done related to it from my electronics background. So every single time I was always pushing so at the end of the interview, the guy said, okay, I now asked him for feedback and all that. The guy was not like, even though most people that we employ for this kind of roles have mechanical backgrounds, but you are bringing something different, which I want to see in my team. Coming with your electronics background and with the kind of experiences you've had, I know, in fact, I already have so project on ground that I would want you to be a part of. And I'm like, Oshe, that's it. You understand? So whatever you have that is concrete, my dear, please push it anywhere. In fact, if they say this, before they say, you are first class, tell them, I've done this, I've done that, I've done that. They will forget that they're asking you for first class. They will forget they're asking you for 2-1, because what you push to them is what we appeal them. Thank you, right? Doctor, do you want me to go on?
I'll still coming to you. Dele, I don't know you are like this. You are very raw. But that's awesome. And you guys, I want to believe you're drawing strength from everything they're saying. You must be able to marry your academic excellence or your academic stability, whichever grade, and marry your experience together. You have to take away timidity. You have to be bold. See, this is who you are. Nobody can take it away from you. You have to use it to your advantage. If there's a movie I enjoyed the most, is The Three Idiots. I'm sure you guys have watched that movie before. The guy was on the wheelchair. You see, he got to the panel, was so bold, and he told them something. He said, "This attitude that I have, I got it through pain. So it's either you take me and let me give you the best I have." I'm paraphrasing, or you lose a candidate who will be beneficial to your company. And nobody has ever spoken to that panel in such a manner. One guy died just because the principal said you amount to nothing. Nobody can write your SOP for you. Nobody can write your future for you. You are the only one. Fine, God is there, is the Alpha and the Omega, but you are the architect of what you write. You understand? So this is who you are. You are not. If there's any other best version of you, it's still you. So sell yourself outside there. They need you. You are the grace of that company. Your supervisor needs you. That professor wants you, because you are a key factor to the success and the growth of his own career. It's a win-win situation. Okay, enough of that. I'm not a motivator or a motivational speaker. I'm just gathering everything together. Precious, precious, precious. Even the view at the back of that view is speaking dollars.
Doc, you
Now,
put me into trouble today.
Precious finished with a 2-2, and I don't know how he did it. If you look at the flyer, you see the sum total of his funding. How? 2-2. To me, don't be offended. Yeah, Summer, don't be offended. But he got that funding. What did you do? I'm sure there are days which you've had so much pain in your heart. You look at yourself, you look at the future, you look at who you are, and you be like, can I amount to this? Can I just get to that ladder, even with the 2-2? And all of a sudden, it's easy to say, but suddenly, in a procedural manner, you are able to get those funding. Please tell us, what did you do?
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Doc, for having me. In addition to the whole syndrome of 2-2, when you have 2-2, it's pretty much a death sentence to academics like us. And mine started with in my year one, the first course I took, being a bright student from secondary school, coming to a university, and my chemistry, the first exam I wrote in my university then as a year one student, was missing. So my mom is a chemistry teacher, so I have a good, background in terms of chemistry, and that course missing kind of derailed me. I was like, why would, one of the best paper I've ever written in my life go missing and nobody's doing anything about it? The professor or the teachers of then was, we call him Alanta. When he teaches chemistry, he's kind of moving his body like he's dancing. So I tried as much as possible to follow the situation up or, see if I can find my script. But, we know the situation with Nigerian universities. That was it. And I was like, you know what, there's no need, stressing myself, reading, and in the end, my paper will get missing. And I had that mentality that obviously, it's not the kind of stress I'm going to go through and have such a mistake repeat itself. But moving towards 300 level, I kind of, call myself up again. I was like, you know what, I still need to, put in the efforts and do what is necessary of me, because I'm the kind of person that whenever you give me a task, I want to see the best out of it. I want to, give my best to it. If my dad is paying my school fees as of then, he would expect me to come out with the best, right? So how do I make up with the, the year one, year two bad result and all this kind of stuff? Then they don't really, my dad is not that educated. So education was just go and study, make sure you have your degree when you're done. But making friends with one of our brightest students then, and it kind of, helped me to catch up or find my feet back into academia. And I built on that, which is one of the real or key criteria in terms of graduate school applications, because sometimes they don't really check your first, second year or third year university degrees, because they know at some time people have that imposter syndrome. Oh, coming from high school as a teenager, going into university where you have a new world, you have adults going to school and all this kind of stuff. Sometimes they look at from your 300 level to your final year. And that was where I capitalized on. And that was where I kind of, held something solid in terms of my tutor. But again, the 2-2 syndrome was, you're just there. You're not expected to, be part of the brightest students or, have your scholarship written for you and all this kind of stuff. So I furthered for my master's, I attended a school in Turkey, which usually offer 50% discount for international students. So I capitalized on that and I went for that. And when I'm done with my master's, I was like, probably I should move ahead or, further ahead and see what's out there. I've been hearing about PhD and all that kind of stuff. What is really PhD and all that? So I started digging around. But before then, I came on Twitter, for the political banter and the rest of them. And I came across all our academics on Twitter, Dr. Muyiwa and the rest of them. And I was like, 2-2 scholarship. Are you kidding me? Wow, that's cool, And my idea was like, you know what, I had a good distinction from my master's. What if I go back to, doing another master's in my first degree, which is the electrical electronics, see if I can, have something solid, probably through a scholarship. But I was so immersed with my current field, which is, tourism, travel and tourism, with the idea of owning businesses in that field. So I was like, you know what, I should further with this aspect because something I love. So I started listening, I started paying attention, I started picking out the key factors, how to write an SOP, how to do this, how to do that. I'm a silent learner. I stay behind the scene and do whatever I have to do. But the end game here now was to build myself to be presentable. If I'm going for a PhD program, that means I want to teach or I want to be a professor in the future. So how do you sell yourself? How do you put out the strong foot into the system? So I was picking the factors or the criteria that will make you stand out in an application or in an admission process or whatever. But the first thing I did was to look at for the schools or the universities offering my program in the United States and Canada and every other parts of the world. And I came across a current professor who is also on Twitter, follows me, and when I made some background check on her, I saw that she had a recent $2.6 million US funding for her research, which was on sports management, social media, and using social media to elaborate, which is focused on women. I was like, wow, 2.5 million. Even if she's sharing it $50,000, I'm definitely gonna get that maybe $50,000. Even if she's having 10 or 100,000 students, definitely I'll get 50,000. So at the back of my mind, I was like, this is your take. This is your going into your PhD. So I reached out to her on Twitter, and she was amazed. She has never seen a student, be so composed or, articulative in terms of what I needed as of then. She was like, go ahead and apply. And that was it. So, but the funny thing is that when I had that assurance from her, which was okay, go and apply, all those kind of stuff, I still wanted more. So I was like, oh, I could do this. A prof in sports management, wealthy enough in funding and the rest of them. Why not go for other people or other areas? I started digging, I started going for other schools. So that was how I came across Colorado State University, University of Ottawa, Harry Watts University in the UK. So pretty much when I had these ones, and every other universities that I lost when the admission didn't go through, but this 4 was key factor, and one of the major takeaway here is that I was being strategic. That is, in addition to what every other scholar have said here, most times people are not being strategic. You don't try to connect your dots. You don't try to do things to stand out of the crowd. Good distinction in my master's. Yeah, but you have to be strategic. You have to position yourself in a way that when someone sees you, they can't say no to you. When you're that's in another sense being compelling. The way you talk to them, the way you interact with them. I mean, these professors, I have their notifications turned on when they post. Even if I'm not interested in whatever they're writing, I have to retweet. You're putting yourself in their face. They know your name. They know who you are. They know what you're after. And that's me being strategic. But down the line, when I had all these scholarships and all that kind of stuff, I was, which one do I pick? Do I go for Colorado State University? Do I go for University of Guelph? Do I go for University of Ottawa? University of Ottawa was the lowest in terms of the funding, but University of Guelph offered an open check. When they found out I was, going for University of Ottawa, they were like, why? Is it the money that is not much for you? We can add more for you. Just tell us how much you can, that would be okay for you to come and research and study with us, that kind of stuff. But because of the strategic position of my current professor or my supervisor, I was like, no, everything's not about money. And at the back of my mind, I remember I was looking for 50,000 to, do my PhD. And now you're having someone offering you an open check and a good pay somewhere and another one somewhere. And I was like, no, be loyal to the first prof that said, yes, let's work together and let's see how it goes. And I've not regretted that decision. It's been strategic, and that strategic aspect of it doesn't end when you get your admission. It doesn't end when you come into the school. It doesn't end when you're interacting with others. You have to be strategic to the end, to when you're a full professor, when you're retiring, because the how you interact with people says a lot about who you are or how determined you are. There are certain things when my supervisor says, she's like, Precious, she gives me that motivation or that encouragement that drives my purpose. Recently, I got an email from her telling me that she has nominated me for a Vania scholarship. I just had a conversation with her. I was like, I'm trying to see if I can. She was like, oh, okay, just let me know how it's going to be, what you need, and all that. And boom, I'm hearing her tell me this is how it is going to be. And that is me being strategic. Most times people are not being strategic. The way you talk to people tells a lot about you. So in addition to all other scholars have said, 2-2 is not the end, third class is not the end, HND is not the end. From my department, I had a first class student who has been doing his master's for 4 years in Nigeria. And when I talk to him, he has that mentality that, the frustration with academic in Nigeria has frustrated him. But I keep on pushing. He wasn't being strategic, because if I had a first class from Nigeria, to be honest, with what Timmy has been saying, I will be flying with myself, I'll be on top of the hills. But again, your grade doesn't say, it doesn't put you down. We've been there and all that. You just have to be serious with what you want. I always tell myself, your dad is not Dangote, your dad is not Tinubu, your dad is not, all these wealthy men in Nigeria. And why do you want to slack? You have to put in the work. And what is the work? Listen, read, research. Where you get confused, you ask those in your field, or you ask those that will be, tangible enough to tell you what is what and what is right. It's not about coming on Twitter, making banters and driving. Are you learning from the conversations? Are you learning? Are you picking points? Are you communicating? You have professors are eventually following you on Twitter, and when you see a sexy picture, you like on it, you click on it. You're not being strategic. They see all those things. Sometimes they run a check on you. Let me see what this student is up to. They go through your profile and all those kind of stuff. You have to be strategic. A minor dot. Someone said something to me yesterday. He brought out a plain white paper, and he put a dot on the paper. He was like, at first he showed me the white paper. He was like, do you see anything on this paper? I said, no. And I put a pen dot on the paper. I was like, do you see anything? I said, yes, I see a dot on the paper. I said, that's how people are. You might be doing things the right way and all that kind of stuff, but the moment there's a dent to your page, everything goes sideways. And it applies to our social life, it applies to everything we're doing, both to your academics. So it was someone that told me about the 3-1 document kind of thing, where your CV tells the same story as your SOP and every other, profile or document you have. And it has worked out for me in so many ways. When I look at it, I was like, that was smart. It took me like 2 or 3 times to pick that point up, and that's it. You just have to be strategic. You just have to know that whatever you're doing, there's always someone somewhere watching you or seeing you. And if you're diligent, if you're dedicated to whatever you're doing, you will excel. Nothing's going to stop you. I remember when I had the admissions, I was like, oh, wow, the next thing is the visa. How am I going to get the visa? With the whole decline and all that kind of stuff. But still, I had to put in the work. I still communicated with the prof that, offered an open check, told her, ma, I'll be coming over, but we need your support, because I know she's in that, She wrote a recommendation letter. My supervisor in my own school wrote me a recommendation letter. All these were compiled. What was his recommendation letter from her? This is a student I would have liked to work with. And when he's done with his PhD, I want to take him on a postdoctoral, this is how you're being strategic. Because it didn't work out with the professor in Colorado, in University of Guelph, doesn't mean that's the end of the road. No, you still have to keep the communication going. At some point, you want to interact with them, and I'm looking forward to meeting her in person. That's how close I became with her, and I hope things will turn out great in the future with her. And that should apply to everyone out there, that you have to choose not the end. It's very, 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 very possible that, you could be on top of your class after your graduation and everything. Thank you, guys.
Awesome, Precious. It's deep. Okay, Blessing, briefly, because I still have one more round.
Yeah, sorry. So I was going to say something, which is that in our applications, there's something that's one of the things that stands out actually is your display of knowledge in the subject matter. So we need to be abreast of the situation in the industry that we're applying to. We need to know what is the challenge science is facing in that particular field. So I'm in the water industry. So you have to understand, like I was in Nigeria. So I understand what is the problem with water and wastewater management in Nigeria, because I had been reading about it. I had been reading about what it is that the whole world is facing about water quality and quantity, about the shortage of water, about everybody researching into recycling and reuse of water. So you have to be able to demonstrate that I know what I'm doing. I've read so much about it, and I think I should do my research in this aspect. So, but if you're not demonstrating knowledge in the subject matter, you just come with your grades and your passion, just passion would not do anything. You have to show them that I've done my homework and I know what I'm talking about. Okay, so you mentioned looking for 50,000 scholarship or something initially. So what I used to tell people is that, look at it this way. You want somebody to invest several thousands of dollars in your life. Do you deserve it? How do you prove to them that you deserve it? How do you justify that much money? And there was a tweet I made some time ago that it's like a business proposal. The energy you put in business proposal, like I need to partner with maybe Dangote PLC for this kind of business. You know the kind of energy, the way you will not sleep at night just writing that kind of a business proposal. So if people think about writing their SOPs as the way they would write a business proposal when they want to go and meet $10 or something, they would put in so much energy, research, background research and knowledge, and display how much they qualify for it, how much they deserve it. But if you are just coming with, okay, yes, I have this grade and I have this, that's it, then how do you justify that much money? I still look at every time I look at my school fees, I ask myself, okay, I must have written something tangible for them. For somebody to offer to pay this much, where would I have gotten £21,500 from God's sake? How? And my stipend, how? So this is the thing that we need to think about when writing, display of knowledge in what I want to do. That's why even PhD applications, you have to write proposals, like they have to know that you have an idea, even though there is going to be some fine-tuning and stuff, but you have to display that I know what I'm talking about. I have done my part of it, my homework. I just wanted to put that. So experience, your grades, your writing, how to articulate it, but then importantly, displaying knowledge of the subject matter is very important in our essays.
Awesome, blessing. Thank you very much. I want to believe so far that everyone listening, both on YouTube and in the house here, you are really gaining one thing or the other, and there is a whole lot of staring on your inside. Of course, I have a PhD in applied mathematics, but I finished with a 2.2. I finished with a 2.98. One lecturer somewhere ran away with our results. let's not just go, let's not just go into that. But you see, it's painful, but you just have to check yourself. This is the situation at hand now, and what's the future saying? If it's your reality, then it gives you energy. Like I say, if the future does not give you a measure of energy to run with, then you're not there yet. That's just the truth. You know what? When the guy ran away with our result in 100 level, I just asked myself, okay, so both 102 is gone. How are we going to survive? But you see, the first time I met my professor, I finished with the master's, and I had an MPhil PhD grade. And when I met my professor is a Russian. I have three. Two of them are Russians. Please, when you work with a Russian professor, don't ask me how I survived. Just don't ask me. Yes, there are days where tears rolls down my eye in his very presence, and he was telling me, in Russia, if you cry like this, you are in soup. Now you're putting coal or fire on my head, and now you're threatening me that this is how it's done in Russia. But you see, um, all of it is for the good. But let's not just go there. And he asked me a question the first time he saw me. He said, "How did you write a paper and it got published internationally?" Two, the last one was under review. Now, for me, it was the paper writing was not really my thing, but I just want to read. I want to get exposed. I knew in Nigeria I cannot get exposed, so I want to go abroad to get exposed to mathematics, not for the sake of JAPA, because JAPA was not even in my thinking. Because for some of you who did mathematics in Nigeria, you will know what it means. You open umbrella, you close. You close umbrella, you open. We cram, we pour. We do. You don't even understand what dilemma. You don't even understand any. It's just crazy. And I asked myself that, is this all about math? And you see, you will hear some professors. You see them on YouTube. You check out their page. These guys they are making bright. They are on the yacht on vacation, and they are professor of mathematics. I told myself, is it true? There's something these guys have that we don't have. So these are dreams, these are passion, these are propelling force, these are drive. If you don't have it, you will get frustrated. You can ask all the scholars that are here, one way or the other, they've cried in their closet, and just ask yourself, like, oh boy, what's my life turning to? I and Precious were talking one day, and I got to a position in the PhD, and I asked myself, who sent me work? Who? What am I looking for? Who give me job do? I was asking myself, so what am I looking for now? Parameter estimation. I don't even understand what I'm looking for. And I get to the front of my professor. The guy keeps talking about vibration. He's so happy. And in my heart, I asked myself, although there is passion, but will this thing turn out to money? This guy is doing like this, is listening to orchestra, classical music, and is explaining. He was saying, Adejimi, it is interesting. I just did like this. Oh boy, I don't know what I'm looking for, but we shall have the PhD. But you see, it's all for the fun. You understand? Now, I'm going on the last round, and I want to ask every of the scholar, um, every of the speaker, very brief. Something must have been an hidden fear to you, which is equal to your dream and your passion. How did you manage it? Because everybody talks about scholarship, but nobody talks about the life behind the scholarship. Nobody talks about the pain. Nobody talks about hunger, loneliness, imposter syndrome. You're not even seeing yourself worthy enough. You look at your life, you look at your SOP, they don't even match, and yet you have to marry both of them together. Nobody talks about those things. So briefly, you talk about your pain, your tears, and how you overcame them, looking at your future and the drive and where you are today. I said very briefly. Summer? Summer?
I'm here. It's actually, I got emotional because this was what I was discussing on Twitter Space for 9 hours yesterday. And, huh, in short, I don't like to get rejected. Let me not even lie. It's, if I tell you the kind of things that you have to put in when you want to submit an application, and then when you're done, and then somebody says, we are sorry to inform you that it's, no matter where you are in life, even professors still get angry that they applied for grants and it was not approved. Yes, I've cried a couple of times, but my consolation is with Cold Stone. That's what I always say, because that is what I do. Whenever I feel very down or depressed or worried, I eat a lot. I try to take junk because I feel like that's the only way I can try to forget my problems at that point. So, most people say PhD, they started with proposals. As a master's student in Canada, I was required to submit a proposal. Yes, I was required to submit a proposal, and I had to look for professors. They all said, yes, I love your work. Go ahead and apply. And when they tell you go ahead and apply, you feel like, okay, that means it's a 95%, guarantee that you're getting. I was so, in short, the one that gave me stress that I had to prepare 5 pages. And I thought I was going to get, I saw myself in the University of Saskatchewan. I didn't care about the weather. I saw myself entering the bus, going to, oh my God, I dreamt of myself in University of Saskatchewan. Professor said, Soma, I love your work, go ahead. The professor even went and checked me out on LinkedIn. I was like, I don't make them. I'm in. Guys, they were the first person to reject my application. It's the same thing I submitted to the University of Saskatchewan that I submitted to other schools. The same thing. The only thing was that each school, this particular school, say 2 pages of research proposal, which is even more difficult. You see, when they tell you prepare 10 pages, you are very lucky. But you see, when they tell you prepare 1, that is very difficult. But I reduced mine for University of Victoria for 2 because they are very strict. They tell you to don't do I know more and do 5. When University of SARS came, I cried. I was so angry. I was working in a law firm then. I just went to my boss and said, sir, please, I'm very sick. I need to go home. And then he said, are you okay? I said, sir, no, I'm just very sick. I just need to go home. As I was going back home, I just stopped at Domino's Pizza and I got Cold Stone, the big size. I did not care the amount because on a normal day, I would go for the normal size. But that day I went because I was angry. A whole university. Then why did you check out my LinkedIn profile? What did I? When I even told a friend of mine who was at University of, who was still there doing his PhD at the moment, I say, Nnemeka, University of South, he said, it's not possible. How? He said, how? Soma, your proposal is top notch when it comes to indigenous law. You were talking about a trending issue in Canada. Why? As that message was entering, I did not respond because I was broken. I'm sure if you're here, you've gotten rejection from one, whether a job or whatever, you will know how it feels. I was pissed. I started doubting myself. I started saying that means I am not enough. That means, I have to spend this year in Nigeria earning 50,000 naira in a law firm. I was like, Summer, you went to go and apply to only Canada. Your mates are applying to all the schools in the world. You went to go and apply to only Canada. Another school sent in another rejection, McGill University. I said, what kind of thing is this? Am I even going to leave this Nigeria at all? How am I going to convince myself that I am better? How am I going to convince myself that I am enough? University of McGill said, first of all, I should not even contact them, that their decisions are final. But SASC opened room, like you can ask them, ask why. So I asked why, so that in case UVic is sending their own, I will not console myself that, okay, this is good. This could be the reason. And then SASC actually responded and told me that this year, their team was not indigenous. So which means if I had done my further research, I would have known that they are not taking people whose research are on that area this year. And you will know by checking the newsletter of the website. I didn't do that. So that was how I lost out. So that means if I had written on gay rights, because I know someone who got in writing on gay rights, which is a human rights issue because I am interested in international human rights, I would have gotten in. But no problem, that's fine. But when UV came and they say, congratulations, I say, wait, is it a mistake? Or because I've gotten 2 rejections at a go. First day, University of Sussex, the next day, McGill. It was as if they knew when to send it to me back to back. I was broken. That is something that most of us, I know someone who said I applied to 10 schools and 9 of them said no, but 1 said yes. Mine was 2. 2 said no, 1 said yes. And when you get that yes, you find out that if you apply to only 2 schools and those 2 came out no, you'll be asking yourself, why did you not apply for the 3rd one? So I always tell people, don't even behave like me. Don't do like Summer and apply to just 1 country and spread your eggs. There is something, I don't know if I've told anybody this, but my imposter syndrome is not even for applying. I will apply. Tell me no, no problem. But you see my imposter syndrome, I always doubt myself when I want to write. Not SOP, academic writing for publication. When I want to write, I'm like, are you sure this journal will accept my publication? In short, as a matter of fact, I wrote an abstract and I wrote it once, submitted it to my supervisor. He said, Soma, go ahead and submit it. I don't have any correction. This is perfect. But I was doubting myself when I was sending it to him. I was already thinking, maybe he'll tell me to change everything. Do you know that when I submitted that abstract, deep down I've already said, if you like, people should tell me to come and present my paper. I don't care. I know that it's not. I was already doubting. This is something that I don't tell people. I feel like my writing for publication is not enough. Guess what? I was among in fact, I'm the only grad student that was selected, whose abstract was selected, to come and present her paper. Then I said, do you also want to contest for the 1 prize in paper? Do you know that I did not submit that paper? I started writing it. If I share my screen, you see that, but I did not submit it. Why? Because I was still doubting myself that, summer, publication, academic right, it's not SOP, it's not CV, it's not. So this imposter syndrome comes one way or the other. I never doubted myself that I can get scholarship or whatever. But what I always doubt myself in is, would they accept your publication? They might. It's just because I have this feeling that, coming from Nigeria, publication is not such a big deal, if we can all agree. Maybe even, I know a professor, I'm sorry to say this, but I know a professor who was, when I was in final year, they just made him a professor. He had only 1 publication. Only 1. But abroad, the way they write is different. If you're even applying to, if you're submitting a like an article, a manuscript to a journal, you have to write like that journal. You have to use, and our own law, our citation is even different from other people's citation that use APA style. I have to go and start learning APA. It was difficult for me. I'm still struggling. Like, I can, if I write, my professor say it's perfect, but inside me, I still feel like I am not enough. I am not doing enough. So just to wrap up, if you're here and at some point you're feeling like, okay, you've submitted applications to, you're saying APA 6, precious, is it APA 6 that we're using or 7? It's not 7 that people are using now. It's 7. It keeps changing. I can't follow the trend. We're using McGill's McGill citation for law. So it's more like it's a different citation altogether. But then my point is, if you're here, and I know that most of us have gotten rejections, you are still getting rejections, and you're feeling like your world is coming to an end. Rejection does not define you. In short, if they send a rejection email, just say your loss. That's what I used to say to console myself, because actually I know the stuff I am made of. I'm going to say this. I'm sure. Now this is why if you're someone I call my tight circle, which is like my friends, my school daughters when I was in secondary school and all of that, I tell them, I encourage them, graduate with the first class, because when you graduate with the first class and you have other things, you don't need to stress yourself so much. You don't need to do that. Just make sure that you have tick the box. Let it be that if they come out and say, do you have the minimum requirement? You're there. Do you have experience? You have. Do you have volunteer? You have. But note this, first class down to third class, we all have rejections, one way or the other. How do you take it? I said Cold Stone. Cold Stone might not work for you. Yeah, I think it was on Valentine's Day, I asked people to call me. Sorry, I asked people to drop that I was going to call them, those that had rejections. It was intentional. Guys, I called people were crying. Do you know why I like the fact that
anything you want to tell me.
okay, so people were crying. I like the fact that they were crying. Do you know why? Cry it out. There is no point like putting it in. It could. I think it was Alafin that was talking yesterday during the Twitter space. Alafin said he got rejection and that the thing almost affected him. He was leaving the house to go and barb his hair. He was losing his sanity. Scholarship application, they rejected his application and he wanted to run mad. Cry. Call people that you love. It is not the end of the world. We just need one yes. One yes. That's all. So if they like, let them throw 10,000 rejections. So long as one said, I've seen what you have and I need what you have. I need you to bring it to the table. Guys, take it. Because that's the end of the story. That's the end of poverty. As far as I'm concerned, scholarship will change your life. It has changed my life. It has changed everybody's life that I know. I have seen people that have gotten scholarship and it choke. Everywhere is full of there is nothing that you want to touch that will not turn to gold. It's not a joke. I'm not saying this thing because I just have, but it's the truth. You will find out that scholarship will turn you around. When you want to do something, you'll be like, no, this one will pay for this car. This one, fact. So if you can get scholarship, please do. 110%. I'm an advocate of scholarship. You should be paid to study. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Summer. Now that's very deep. Very, very deep. You check this one, you buy your car. Awesome. Yes, because you can't save to buy that one. Yeah, okay. Blessing. Very, very brief.
Okay, I was actually clapping for Summer. But then let me just go ahead. So I really can't relate so much with that because the Commonwealth scholarship I applied for was my first scholarship. And so I really didn't have so much rejections and depressions from that. However, I put in myself, the whole of me, into the essay writing. Like I said, I studied so hard. I was not sleeping because I had to study and reference what I was writing and study all over again. In fact, those periods, my children were not eating in their house, they were just eating bread. It was that bad. I just had to focus all of me into what I was writing. However, I got a mail that I was placed on reserve. That was what hit me at that period, because I felt like I deserved to be nominated because I put everything, every fiber in me into this one application. So when I saw that I was in the office that day, and then I just got the mail and it says you're on reserve list, which means somebody has to drop before I get it. I just went outside my office, I took a picture and posted it on Facebook that I was going to come back to remember this picture. And then I went home earlier than usual, sedated myself and just slept because I was too weak to cry. I just felt like, why should I be placed on reserve? It means I might not get it. So much later, the school messaged me and they said they were offering me a 50% scholarship. So I mailed them and said, no, I didn't want a 50% scholarship. I was still waiting for the full scholarship. So eventually I got the nomination. Like that kind of erased the pain I felt from the. However, I have a little bit of also the pain and the imposter syndrome. And this is what happened. My background is biochemistry for my first and second degree, but I work in the water treatment plants. And this little girl here decided to take an MSc in water and wastewater engineering. I hate maths. I don't like physics. I run away from calculations. And then I decided to pick a course in wastewater engineering. I mean, so that time it was like, oh yes, I love challenges, which of course I do, and all of that. I picked up the course, and then by the time I came here, the beginning was still fun. And then when we had to do with the engineering part, that was when I asked myself, listen, who sent you? Why you come here? Why you say you want to do engineering course? Waiting you did think before. That was the time I started asking a lot of questions, and that was when I started doubting myself. I felt like I wasn't good enough. Apparently, my first grade came in and I had a 74. I cried because I didn't expect that. I was like, how now? Should you have some small brain, at least you're a little bit smart. So that was when I started breaking down. It really like broke my heart. And then I went on, and then the engineering, the mathematics it wasn't so deep engineering, but I had been out of school for so very long. I finished my first degree in 2008. I had a 6 years gap before I went to do my master's. And then this is another 5 years before now. So I have had a very long break. And then I'm just returning to school and everything is just all over. So I struggled so hard at that period. That's really the pain I felt, because by the time my second grade came and I was expecting I would be blowing 89, 97 kind of thing. And when I didn't have that, I actually cried. There was one day right in this sitting room in my house, my friend was here and I was trying to explain to him how I was struggling with the math, and I just busted into tears. It was really pathetic. So, but thank God I had people around who just encouraged me, and then it's getting better. I'm really doing better now. So those are the little pains that I have experienced. And also being a mother, being away from my children, for all this period is really, really hard. It's a tough one. But we're doing it. We thank God for FaceTime and video calls and all of that. So grad school will deal with you in some sense, and you just need good people around you to encourage you, talk to you, people you can easily talk to about your fears, about your worries and concerns. And then by the time you talk to them, you are lifted, your mood gets better, you're able to think better and plan and strategically do things to get better around you. So I think I'm gonna stop now. Yeah.
Awesome. That's and from another motherly perspective, which is very interesting and very key. Kudos. Okay, briefly, it's Milaine. Briefly, because I want us to round up soon.
All right, thank you. It's been a wonderful conversation so far. Yes, there's a lot of struggles in graduate school, even before you apply at all, just like Summer had said. In my own case, I think I shared my story at the beginning of this meeting, and then that was the very first outbreak, a significant outbreak that I think I ever had, because I went in with an expectation and with a preconceived result in my head. So when it came out negative, it was so shattering, and I did almost everything that Summer did. I was just all over the place, but something now happened to me. I think I contacted Dr. Babajide Macaulay Milton of FUTA. So I just told him, Baba, now waiting happen with this. So trouble don't come back from Beirut University, Germany. Waiting we go do. So it was like, okay, let me just see the SOP you submitted. Let me see the SOP you submitted. And then when it looked through, it just said, okay, there is actually nothing we can do about this because it's gone already. Let's prepare for other applications. And unfortunately, I had submitted application to the MasterCard scholarship before that time. So I was like, okay, so I could as well be expecting a negative result from UBC Canada at that time. So he told me, frankly, that welcome to graduate school. I was like, Baba, wait till you they talk. Welcome to graduate school. I said, I just got a rejection. I said, yeah, because this is what graduate school is all about. When you apply, you get rejected in some applications, and some applications you are successful. At the end of the day, you will get into grad school and you face a lot of issues entirely different. But when someone was trying to narrate a story, something just just came up in my mind that you actually dodged a bullet when that users, maybe it's users or McGill told you to go and apply. That would not be a good supervisor, so to say. That will not be a good supervisor. And one of my own coping mechanisms in this PhD is my supervisor. She is very supportive, and you want to get yourself a good supervisor. And that is why I actually always advocate that people do not put all of their eggs in one basket. You don't rely on just one person. Do your research about these people, contact their department, not in a confrontational way, not in a creepy way, but just find out how they treat their grad students. What do their grad students turn out to become? How do they go through grad school? See, most of this information is online. You don't even need to ask people. In some cases, just go. Someone that did PhD for 7 years, and it happened to another person in the same lab, and another person, that's a problem. You should know that already, that you are going to hell on earth. So you don't want to go there. So when you see people complain too much, graduate school, no matter how supportive your supervisor is, there's going to be issue. Because there is one issue that is imposter syndrome. Nobody is going to cause it. It is you. It will emanate from your mind. So, so it is you that will first doubt yourself before that feeling, becomes a comprehensive one. And everybody will see that this one is not held together. So you want to come in with an understanding that no matter what you do, you just have to do your best and just leave the rest. Just go in with all confidence. Just make sure that whatever you do, you have done it really well, because you don't want to give room for lapses. Do your best and just leave the rest, because you will not always be perfect. Your writing will not be perfect. If you submit an abstract that has been accepted by a journal, if you submit it to another journal, they might reject it. And that is just the truth. And when you get that rejection, you will think you are not enough. It is not about you. So when I got that rejection from Beirut, just a couple of months after I got an approval from University of British Columbia in Canada, just 3 days after that UBC approval, I got another rejection from Edinburgh in England. So that's to tell you that sometimes it is really, really, really not about you. It is about the application and probably the competition. Probably there are so many things that could be attributed to why you were rejected. So you shouldn't make it about yourself. Just encourage yourself. And some of us, like I said, we have good supervisors, we have good partners, we have friends and family that are really supportive. You should find yourself such people and just, that would be all.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Simi. That's great. Okay, Feishayo, very brief. Very, very brief, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll make it very brief and quick. Well, there's no way we won't get rejection. Like rejection, to me, I take rejection as a challenge. Like it's a challenge, and maybe I haven't done the best. I like haven't given it my best. And sometimes you did give it your best, but it's just like maybe there's like something for you to improve on. So for each rejection I get, I try to like improve. And I feel like, okay, maybe it's not meant for me. So this kind of thing, they really help me. And how do I cope with rejection is the fact that I have something else doing. I have a complaint, I have a farm. So when I'm still sending in emails and everything, I try to focus and channel my energy on my business. So when you see me anytime I have rejection and you see me coming out like, okay, come and buy this product I'm selling, just know that is another rejection I sent. So it's another rejection that I sent. That's why I'm channeling the energy somewhere else. Even when I was going for my visa interview, when I got to the consulate, and I was like, okay, even if I did not get this visa, I have my business. I will just go back to like it's just like you should have something you go back to that really like help you come back and stand on your feet. So that is it. And talking about imposter syndrome, I don't know why is this thing again. Okay. Yeah, talking about imposter syndrome, I had it not really when I was applying, because sometimes when I was applying, I started the whole application in 2019, and at some point, because I was trying Canada, I tried University of Saskatchewan also. So at some point, I stopped and I closed the chapter. I stopped. So when somebody like tried to like send a message to me, I was like, I've been trying to apply, I'm getting rejection. I tell them it's okay. It's okay to give a break. It's okay to channel your energy on something else for some time. Give it a break and do something else for some time. Then come back. You find out that you come in stronger than ever before, because you are now settled. Your head is really clear, and you are really ready to dive into it more than ever before. So give it a break. That is, so when I come into graduate school, I started to have imposter syndrome. And this imposter syndrome is about how to like fit in and blend in. I don't know, American culture is a little bit crazy here. And sometimes talking in class, this is my first semester actually. And sometimes when I had to like ask questions in class, you have to practice your English. Like I'm talking to you and you guys can really hear me clearly, but I really can't talk the same way in classes. I have to like, okay, now change everything for them to understand my question. And sometimes the lecturer will just like, I'm sorry, I really can't hear you clearly. This alone will be like, what am I saying so wrong? Is it like I don't understand English again, or what's going on? And then a lot of being in research, sometimes your research doesn't even go your way. About last week, I did my first exam and I got my result, and I saw it. I was like, wait, why did I even come to grad school? I don't understand again. Why did I even like force myself to come into this while like, since I'm okay, but I feel like, okay, this is what I want to do. But at the same time, you think about why you really want to come to grad school, and that's the only thing that will keep you moving. Think about the future, like, okay, this is the main reason why you really wanted the grad school. So focus on your number one reason of going for grad school, because in every time you ask the question, why did I choose this? But the main reason why you ever come there, do not forget it, because that's the only thing that will bring you like come back again. Like, okay, I come to that grad school because I want to achieve this. I come to grad school because I want to do this. So that's the only thing that like keeps you moving and keeps you going on. Thank you.
Awesome. In fact, under the same cloud, the rain that is falling and the sun that is shining is in different dimensions. They must hear you, precious. They have to hear your English. Yeah. Okay. Adeji, very brief, please. So you sum it up with your parting words, very brief, then followed by the man on the street. Oladele.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start by saying, when I tell people that I've written over 10,000 applications, they find it very hard to believe. And along the line, I developed a thick skin to rejections, like someone said. You know, sitting down, trying to put some things together, and you've put in your best, and the next thing you are getting back, the feedback is, I'm sorry, unfortunately, we won't be. Wow, like, is that happening? At first, it got to me, I would just go cold. My family were like, why are you just alone? Once I get into the house, just go straight to my room, lock up, and just be there on the internet looking for another opportunities. Then I had this count on my laptop. It was when I got to, I think, around 8,000. That was when I noticed I've sent over 8,000 applications, and they came back with rejections. Then I was like, but I had this passion in me that my dreams are big. I couldn't sleep. I mean, this dream is chasing me all around. And I was like, well, I needed to get this done. I needed to get this done. I mean, why self-conviction, as Soma said earlier, is one of the things that drove me to this stage of my life. You knew you were not in the right, I mean, you don't have the right papers, you don't have the right results, but there's a place you are heading to. You needed to understand something, you needed to get something. So you needed to do something you have not done before to achieving those dreams. So that was how this whole thing happened. Like what's her name? Who said they don't understand English? Here in Poland, they don't speak English at all. But fortunately, this program comes in English language, and for someone who, let's take for instance an Italian speaking English, it's kind of funny. So when you ask questions in class, when you answer, sometimes the class, this imposter syndrome comes. Like, do you really fit in this society? But when you realize there's a research to be completed, graduate school by research is not a being speak. There's a research to be completed. Then you have to sit down, like, damn, you have to do this. You have to understand the reason why you have left your comfort zone. Let me put it that way? Yes, your comfort zone to this kind of environment, and you know what you are. I mean, what is pushing you, the passion, the fire behind your drive. I could remember as well when I went for the visa interview, I was asked, in the next 5 years, where do you see yourself? What do you want to be doing? That question, actually, I wasn't expecting that kind of a question. And fortunately, I am not permitted to answer orally. So I was given a pen and paper that I have to put it down. This thing started coming. I started writing. I mean, the interviewer, I'm sure she'll be looking at me like, just put 2 or 3 sentences together and give us. But I was writing, and eventually this came out positive. But I'm just trying to advise our people. I mean, to put this out there that no matter what, once you have the passion and you have a dream, perseverance, resilience, and steadfastness will give you what you wanted. And that was actually what helped me. I remember there's this Swedish Institute scholarship with Swedish University of Agriculture. I got everything perfect. Everything was going on fine until the rejection came. And that was the only thing that happened to me back then. I think that was the only school I applied to. And that thing got to me. And the next year, do you know what I did? I applied to over 43 schools. Over 43 schools, looking for all these opportunities and all that. So I wanted to put this over to people. Please, don't sleep on it. Like our friend said earlier, don't sleep on it. This is not the time to sleep on it. If it is what you wanted, then you must stand up and achieve it. Thank you, please.
Awesome. That's deep. Don't sleep on it. Very fast. Oladele, very, very fast and brief.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. So I
You're
would
welcome,
say
sir.
my own my own imposter syndrome is actually going to be the biggest, because coming from the product of what I was, right, you would know that even Nigeria, that is Nigeria, our Nigeria go as a lower credit HND graduate, I can't go straight for PGD. In most universities in Nigeria, that's in Nigeria where I got my certificate from. As a lower credit graduate, I can't go straight for PGD, not to talk of masters. So already, in fact, there was already that discouragement. Well, a lot of my friends, some were going for top up of 3 years, some were going for the ones that have very good results. Those ones are going for PGD and all that. But something just kept coming back to me now. Okay, I did some research and I found out that out there in the UK, I'm not a big fan of UK though, but out there in the UK, they recognize HND. Here in the US, they recognize HND. So I'm like, if they recognize HND, that means one way or the other, one of them, his head will shift one day that we just decide, let me even give this boy this opportunity. Yeah, as Adeniji said, Adeniji, you tried to, thank you. By the time I got to like over 40, I think I already zeroed my mind down. The last one I did, which was the one that gave me admission, I already said, after that one, I know they will do it again. In fact, I was already considering 3 options. Number one, either I start bachelor's again, undergrad, or me too, I go and look for a way to do top up or PGD, or I switch my PGD and go to National Diploma University in Nigeria and just do one PGD. Let me bump myself up, or I just totally forget about education. But one thing I know I don't want to ever do is go back and say I want to do the entry back to Nigerian University to collect BTech or BSc. I say, no, 4 years now, I don't have that. I don't have the strength to waste. So, but eventually, know the funny thing was, when this admission came, this my current school, a month later, I got 3 different admissions, like back to back. Schools that I've forgotten that I applied to, because, Adeniji, you agree with me, there are some schools, you would have forgotten you applied to them until you start seeing their responses. And I started seeing, I saw 2 from Eastern Europe. I saw one from, I think, Western Europe, or the school. Now, to even relate to Adeniji, that one was part 1. Now I'm currently coming out of my part 2, because already applying for jobs, applying for internship, full-time. This is where I say I relate more to Adeniji, because I opened an Excel sheet, right? I was updating every application. It got to a point when I got to about 150 something. I said, I know they update again. Then I left. I intentionally now said, okay, I won't apply to top companies anymore. I'll be going for companies that have between 10 to like 20 staff. You understand? When you leave the companies with thousands of staff and start going for 10 to 20 staff, because you look at it, maybe those ones, they are not meant for me. Let me just go to my size and all. And then when I was going to get the biggest miracle of my life, one of the top 5 companies in the world, not even say in America or whatever, and I was like, okay, so that means my perseverance last day. So one thing I know, I would say is, number 1, perseverance. Number 2 is evolution. When you get rejection, when you get rejected, evolve. If I tell you how many versions of resumes I have on my system, well over 30 different resumes, upgrade. When you see this one, you upgrade to another one. You take somebody else's resume, use to update your resume. You just change one line, just keep up, as in over 30 different versions of my resumes are present on my laptop because I keep evolving. I say, okay, let me upgrade it again. So you have to keep evolving, right? And then the part of research, see, there was something I noted, and I think it was Blessing that said something similar to it. One thing is, okay, no, it was Summer. One thing that is there is this. You have to know what professors in program you are going for are actually probably working on or trying to work on, right? Because someone was saying, okay, that if she had knew that the school she was applying to were that what they were focusing on for that year was that particular topic, she would have probably written. So you have to know what professors, because if you just do something arbitrary, no matter how fine it is, it doesn't correlate with what they are pursuing, because professors, unlike our Nigeria, where we say our professors, nothing come out. Yeah, professors get grants, they get funded almost every year for one particular research or the other. So you have to align whatever you are bringing as asset to as experience as whatever, align it to what they are currently doing or what they are planning to do in order for you to key into that. Yeah, that was my submission. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Of course, everybody will know that Dele is a street guy, as in his aura is very strong. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, to the last person, the man with the money, Precious. Tell us then you with your parting words.
Anyways, I've had my own share of the cold letter. What do you guys call it? Love letter, right?
Breakfast.
Exactly. Mine was Waterloo, University of Waterloo, University of South Carolina, and which other one? I think one in Australia. The whole thing was that for the University of South Carolina, they said they didn't have a supervisor who was willing to take up my research or my research interests because they were focused on something different, which was weird because they didn't tell me to write a proposal or, do something that aligns with their research interests. They didn't even ask me to communicate with professors. It was pretty much assigning students or applicants to the profs. But again, that's by the way, I wasn't really fascinated with the school. But one of the key takeaways, I was, hell-bent on knowing why they said no to me, because I hate to take a no for an answer. So they got back to me. They were like, nobody was willing to, take up on my research interest or what I stated in my SOP for University of Waterloo, which was fascinating because I had a communication with one of the profs there, and she gave me that kind of assurance that, we can work things out and all this kind of stuff, but it didn't work out. But the whole thing was like that, the rejection letters, they came the same day within a space of 30 minutes. I was like, I had to begin the, write down the application, get ready for the next academic cycle. But I was like, I lost focus that day. I think I don't know what course I was working on that day, and everything was like a flash. Waterloo, South Carolina, University of Ottawa was pending, University of Guelph was pending. I was like, I really don't want to, remember how I felt that day because it was a horrible day for me, but that's part of life, the ups and downs, that's what makes us. And if everything was offered to us at a platter of gold, we would not appreciate it for what it is and all that kind of stuff. So whenever I remember those, setbacks, I don't call it setback, it's a learning, terrain. When I remember them, I'll be like, wow, I can't believe that, I'm at this stage preparing for my comprehensive exam. I remember when I was, reaching out to profs and all that. But in general, in a nutshell, you don't allow it to weigh you down. Yeah, you will take the shock, you will feel it, you would, you feel like you're not up to standard, you don't merit whatever they are putting out for you or whatever they're giving you. But just put in the energy that you gotta keep on pushing. when you look at things going on back home in Nigeria, that should be a motivator for you. If you look at the situation of things, that should be a motivator for you. If life wasn't as good as rosy as some of our peers, that should be a motivator for you. So from a university somewhere in the world shouldn't deter you or make you feel like, okay, you're not qualified for. No, we are all qualified. One thing about grad school in general is your dedication or your determination to do it, or to go out there and be who you want to be, because that's all they care for. They don't care about your degree. They don't care about what you know, what you don't know, how fluent or how determined are you. And someone will know when they have a conversation with you. They have this FaceTime conversation, Zoom calls. They hear you talk. The way you speak to them, even if you don't know anything about their background, if you don't. I remember, I think it's Mrs. O that said she had no knowledge about her field or what she was working on, but she had that communication with the prof, and the prof was like, you know what, we're going to work together, and I'm going to teach you whatever you need to know to get into that field and be who you want to be. And that's all they need. You don't have to feel sorry for yourself. You don't have to make it look like, oh, because you don't have the background in this area and all that. There are a lot of platforms there offering free courses for you to, up your game and have the knowledge to sell yourself. In general, Summer and every other scholars out here have said it, and, thank you. And I hope everything works out for you guys. Thank you, guys.
Wow, it's awesome. It's been a very interesting 2 hours, 30-minute talk. And I want to believe everyone has been really stirred up. Let me just add this to it. For some of us who write papers for publication and submit to journals last year, for we mathematicians, we use LaTeX to write our papers and submit it to journals. We don't use Microsoft Word. So it's more or less like your coding and all of that. So I wanted to submit it to this journal. Their template gave me issues. I finished everything and submitted. I was hoping. And after 5 minutes, they sent me a rejection letter. Say, we regret to inform you. Some journals will take like 6 months, some 2 months, some a year. This one, after 5 minutes, I was very hungry. So I looked for a movie to watch on Netflix to calm down. And I was playing Caris on my phone. And when I'm calm, I submitted it to another journal, and the journal took like 4 or 5 months and got it accepted. So we face a whole lot of things, but the truth of the matter is this: if you don't apply, you don't have the right to any expectation. And once you apply, excuse me, and you get a rejection. See, the truth is this: after the whole weight comes of the rejection, it has its climax. You calm down. You take cold water, you take juice, you take wine, you go and play football, watch Netflix, and you come back. Because the truth is this is part of growth process. So like we've all come to understand, it's not just about the CGPA alone. There are other factors that are very, very important. I wrote a letter recently, and I was looking at everything I've done, found out black and maths, this, that, blah, blue. And I was like, in how many space of time did I do this? It's all about dedication. And once your art is there, you will do it. Everyone had a failure at one time or the other. You're not the first, neither will you be the last. So you have no reason to feel sorry. You take away self-pity and forget all of those things and move on. If somebody like Adeniji could write, excuse me, 1 minute, please. I'm sorry about that, and I hope you guys enjoy the music. It's very interesting. Yeah, so if somebody like Adeniji could write submit application for over 10,000. I don't know how you did it. I have no idea. I don't know. But God is your strength, man. You're a source of motivation to a lot of people. But that's just it. So on this note, I want to close the curtain and bring this to an end. Please and please, you all have their handles. You follow them on Twitter. You've asked them questions. When you ask questions that are reasonable, not questions that will get them hungry. And if you want to set a goal for yourself, Adeniji submitted 10,000 applications, you can go ahead and submit 10,050. You know, at least one will come back with hope. So on this note, thank you very much for everything. I appreciate the scholars, I appreciate the speakers, and I appreciate the listeners. Everyone has done a beautiful job. And it's streamed on YouTube, so you can always go back over and over to listen to all their stories and how they've done this. Summer, I want to say a big thank you, because I know it's not easy for you coming here. You're really tired, but you know, as a comrade that you are, the strength is there. God bless you so much. And Dele, the man on the street, your picture look very gentle, but you are not gentle in reality. You are everybody felt your presence everywhere. But that's awesome. And to Precious, thank you very much. The man who has the money in the bag. You can share the money for everybody. They will gladly accept. And Madam Blessing, thank you very much for everything you've said today and everything you've done. And to Feishayo, you gave me a tough time in trying to get you, but all the same, thank you for coming here. One thing I want you all to know is this: organizing webinars is not an easy thing, because every one of these people are from different time zones. But it takes effort, it takes heart, it takes dedication, consistency, and the love for the community to get everyone here. I want to say a big thank you to everybody. Who else have I not thanked? Adeniji, thank you very much. No more writing of 10,000 applications. I trust God that subsequently it will come easy. It will come easy. Similarly, the man with the 1-1, always that God will help you to be the head and not the tail. I appreciate every one of you, and I appreciate all the speakers. Forgive me that you're not seeing my face. It's that very interesting call and the music that disturbed everything. So on this note, I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince and not to confuse all of you that scholarship is meant for everybody and not for some set of people. Bye-bye. Namaste.
Thank you. Thank you all.